On July 27th, 2018, Moscow, Russia, three sisters, Kristina, Angelina, and Maria, were arrested for the murder of their father, Mikhail Khachaturian. Mikhail's body was found in the staircase of his apartment in Moscow, with over 30 stab wounds from a hammer and knife. If the sisters were found guilty, Russian law could sentence them to up to 20 years in prison. This incident became one of Russia's most discussed topics, with the public divided on what should happen to these young women. Some argued they should immediately be jailed, while over 300,000 people signed a petition for their release. Many wondered why so many felt sympathy for them, insisting they deserved freedom instead of punishment. Did these three have no other choice but to commit murder? Were there really no other options left? So today we're discussing the Mikhail Khachaturian case. Let's start. The story actually began 25 years ago at a Moscow bus stop, where Mikhail Khachaturian met Aurelia Dudul, the mother of these daughters. Their casual conversations gradually turned into love, and eventually they got married in a Moscow church. However, Mikhail never registered the marriage, as he wanted to ensure Aurelia couldn't later claim his assets or property. Aurelia was unaware of Mikhail's true nature and thought of him as a loving husband, living her life with him. But a few years after their marriage, Mikhail's real behavior came to light. He was extremely rude to Aurelia, constantly mistreating her, and even physically abusing her. This abuse continued even during her first pregnancy. Hey friends, maintaining a healthy diet is the cornerstone of staying fit. Ever feel like your weight loss efforts aren't paying off? Even with diet and exercise, you're not alone. For many people, a slow metabolism is the hidden barrier. That's where Java Burn steps in. Java Burn is a game-changing, tasteless formula that you can simply add to your morning coffee. This powerful blend revs up your metabolism, turning your body into a fat-burning machine. Just add 1 packet to your coffee each day to experience reduced cravings, increased energy, and noticeable fat loss in just weeks. Excited to start your journey? Click the official link in the description to try Java Burn, risk-free, with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Your transformation is just a sip away. When their daughter turned 8, Aurelia expressed her wish to visit her mother's home. Mikhail refused and slapped her hard for even asking. After that, Aurelia gave up any thoughts of leaving. Mikhail wanted her to stay at home, take care of household chores, and keep having children every year. She later became pregnant again, giving birth to Angelina, followed by Maria. Aurelia eventually started taking contraceptives, but Mikhail was against it, as he wanted her at home to care for the children and handle all the housework. He even forbade her from using a phone, though Aurelia wanted to work outside the home. Mikhail didn't allow it. Questions arise. Why was Aurelia enduring such a life? At one point, she took her 3 children to the police station to file a complaint against Mikhail. But Mikhail had connections within the police, and the Russian authorities did not prioritize domestic violence cases. As a result, no action was taken. In fact, Mikhail slapped Aurelia in front of the police, but they still didn't intervene. After returning home, Mikhail even pointed a gun at Aurelia, threatening to kill her and her daughters if she tried something like that again. He continued to behave ruthlessly with Aurelia every day. No one really knew what Mikhail did for a living, but some suspected he dealt in illegal substances, with payments coming from various accounts, possibly even from the criminal world. Over time, Mikhail's behavior became increasingly volatile. He had a son, Sergei, with whom he didn't get along either. Mikhail would frequently beat him and subject him to extreme punishment. When Sergei was just 16, Mikhail threw him out of the house. Sergei had to sleep outside, and his mother secretly brought him food whenever she could. However, when Mikhail found out, he threatened both Sergei and his mother at gunpoint, warning them that if they spoke or tried anything else, he would kill them. Ultimately, Sergei had to leave home for good. We can understand that the household where Kristina, Angelina, and Maria lived was filled with fear and resentment 24/7. When their teachers were asked about them, they said these three girls were very disciplined and loved going to school, as it was an escape from the extreme abuse they faced at home. As the girls grew older, Mikhail's gaze toward them became unsettling. In 2015, he forcefully threw their mother Aurelia out of the house when the girls were only 14, 15, and 16. Holding a gun, he told her to leave or face death. Aurelia had no choice but to leave, knowing how dangerous Mikhail was and fearing for her life. Interestingly, Mikhail treated his three daughters well at first, unlike his wife and son. Even Mikhail's friends and relatives liked the girls and supported them. This may have given Aurelia the confidence to leave, feeling her daughters would be safe in his care. But with Aurelia and Sergei now gone, Mikhail's behavior took a dark turn toward his daughters. His way of looking at them changed drastically, and he eventually began treating them with the same cruelty he showed toward his wife and son. Gradually, Mikhail's actions toward his daughters grew increasingly disturbing. When Aurelia was at home, she managed all the household chores, giving her daughters time to study and spend time with friends. The three sisters were social and outgoing, but now, everything had changed. They needed Mikhail's permission to leave the house, and all the housework had fallen on them. This led to many missed classes, mostly due to Mikhail's demands. Essentially, Mikhail treated them like servants, and even installed a bell in his room. Whenever he rang it, a signal would reach the girls' room, and they had to come to serve him. If they made mistakes, he would punish them by spraying something in their faces or using an air gun on them. Mikhail's abuse reached a horrifying level in 2014 when he took Angelina to Israel and checked them into a hotel. Taking advantage of the fact that no one knew him there, he called Angelina to his room and harassed her, asking her to do shameful things. He even told her that she wasn't his biological daughter and promised to marry her when she turned 18. Mikhail continued to harass her throughout the night. After they returned to Moscow, this abuse did not stop. It only escalated. Mikhail even tried to involve his other two daughters and forced all three to bathe with him. Day by day, his harassment grew worse. Some of the girls' friends claimed that Mikhail even sent them inappropriate pictures. He would call the girls into his room, asking for a massage, though it was far more than just that. In 2016, he took the family on a vacation and forced Kristina to sleep with him. Afterward, Kristina attempted to harm herself, but luckily, she was rushed to the hospital, and doctors saved her. When she woke up, her two sisters were by her side, telling her that if she hadn't survived, they would have followed her. This incident strengthened the sisters' bond even more, making them realize they couldn't wait for a miracle or a savior. They understood that they had to take matters into their own hands. They knew they couldn't run away because Mikhail would find them no matter where they went. One day, Mikhail summoned Angelina to his room for unwanted activities. Once again, Mikhail took Angelina inside his room, while the other two sisters, waiting outside, quickly called their cousins, Arsen and Sergei, for help. They both rushed to the apartment to assist, but Mikhail had locked all the doors, making it impossible for anyone to enter. Following this, the girls started recording Mikhail's behavior on their phones. They also shared these recordings with their friend, Anastasia, who later informed the police. Kristina even messaged a friend, describing how their survival at home was becoming increasingly difficult as their father's harassment and torture escalated daily. On July 27, 2018, Mikhail returned home to find everything in disarray. Items scattered, things out of place, and hair lying around. Enraged, he summoned the three sisters to his room, took pepper spray from his gun collection, and sprayed it in their faces. Kristina, who had asthma, began choking and collapsed. A short while later, Mikhail took his pills and fell asleep in his rocking chair. After he fell asleep, the three sisters decided that this would be Mikhail's last night. Each picked up a tool he had often used to torture them: a knife, pepper spray, and a hammer, and quietly approached him. Maria used the knife, while Angelina hit him multiple times with the hammer. As Mikhail tried to get up, Kristina sprayed pepper spray on his face again. Mikhail struggled to his feet and stumbled toward the staircase. At that moment, Angelina took the knife from Maria and stabbed Mikhail in the chest, resulting in his immediate death. Altogether, he was struck 36 times with the hammer and knife. The commotion could be heard throughout the apartment building, but the neighbors ignored it, assuming it was just another typical night for this family. After it was over, the sisters, terrified, inflicted knife wounds on themselves and each other to support their claim that they had acted in self-defense. When they were taken into custody and questioned by the police, they explained that their father had first attacked them with a knife. They claimed that their father's death occurred while defending themselves against his attack. However, as the case progressed, the investigation into the three girls intensified. Eventually, they confessed everything to the police about what had happened with Mikhail. But the sisters had little trust in the police, as their previous pleas for help had been ignored. They also couldn't rely on relatives, so they decided among themselves how to handle everything. During interrogation, it was confirmed that they had acted together in Mikhail Khachaturian's murder, and numerous examinations proved they had been both physically and mentally abused. For a long time, they hadn't been allowed to see or speak with each other. The case continued for a few more days, and eventually, the girls were released. But life after their release changed completely. They struggled to get admission into college, couldn't pursue their studies, and faced rejection when applying for jobs. Their lives became extremely difficult, and if they were found guilty, they could face up to 20 years in prison. So guys, if you're still watching this video, don't forget to like it, and please subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for the next case. Take care, and goodbye.